Hi there, my name is Nancy, and in my previous videos, I talk about my struggles with a mental health challenge and how I sustained a spinal cord injury as a result of a suicide attempt. In the past 19 years, I was in and out of a psychiatric facility for a total of 5 months. In this video, I want to talk about why it's that going to a psych ward is the first and most important step in suicide prevention and mental health recovery. There are two primary functions of seeking for inpatient treatment when someone is suicidal. First, it is to make sure that the person is safe from self-harm, and also it is to protect others from being harmed by that person. In my previous video, I shared how I had thought about hurting my parents when I was extremely suicidal. When people are that depressed, they can have very dark thoughts and actions. Going to a psychiatric facility is the only way to make sure that everyone is safe. The second critical reason of going to a psychiatric facility is to get an accurate diagnosis of one's mental health condition. I was not formally diagnosed with bipolar disorder until 3 years after my injury. When the doctor first saw me after my suicide attempt, he only knew that I was depressed, but he didn't know that I was manic prior to my depression. I was on the wrong medication for 3 years and it triggered my second major episode of bipolar disorder. Unlike other medical illnesses, a mental illness cannot be subjectively diagnosed by means like blood tests, x-rays, MRIs, etc. On top of that, people with different conditions can demonstrate similar clinical symptoms. The only way to correctly diagnose a patient is when that person is under close observation by the psychiatrist during their stay at the psychiatric ward or a psychiatric hospital. I want to tell you a real example of a peer who recently went to a psych ward because of his extreme suicidal and psychotic symptoms. During his stay, he refused treatment and acted violently towards the staff. 6 police officers were called in to restrain him. He was tied up in bed for 3 days, during which he was injected with medication. It was a gruesome scene in the eyes of people who don't understand the context. Exactly the way how movies and TV series would tell stories inside a psych ward. But at the time and under the circumstances, it was the only way to keep him safe, confirm his diagnosis, and make him start his much needed treatment. In my own journey prior to my suicide attempt, my parents didn't want to send me to a psych ward because they thought that my symptoms would be worsened if I was surrounded by other mentally ill people. At the time, they had no knowledge about mental illness or how to navigate the psychiatric care. Their misconception of a psych ward contributed to the worsening of my illness and subsequently my paralysis due to my suicide attempt. This is their biggest regret even till this day. If you have a loved one who is going through a mental health crisis, please do not be misled by outdated and false perceptions of a psych ward. Of course, conditions inside a psych ward can be very different between facilities in different parts of the world or even within the same country. So before sending your loved one to a psych ward, it's best to do some research. Try to admit them into a reputable general hospital in your area. In my next video, I will share my personal experience and encounter inside a psych ward stay. You can purchase a hard copy of my book Leap on all platforms that sell books, or you can download a free PDF from my website, nancysha.com. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please consider share and subscribe.